Tell me if you heard this one before. I'm going to tell the story of a romantic misadventure I had many years ago that's left me spooked and haunted to this very day. But it started out very innocently. It started with my eighth grade crush, Sandra. Sandra had this big head of beautiful, black, curly, powerful hair. It just kind of radiated energy. She was brainy. She had big, thick glasses. She read tons of books. She argued in class. She and I had this kind of sexual tension. We compete over the spelling bee championships each year together. But I never told Sandra about any of my feelings. I just longed to make out with her from 10 rows behind her on the bus each year. And then the next year I go to a different high school. She goes one way, I go the other. I figured it's going to be just one of those mysteries that never gets explored. I hear years later she gets married, she has 3 kids. Oh well. Until many, many years later, we're both in our late 30s, and I go home into my home state of Maine for the holidays, and I run into her at a holiday party. And there in the corner of the room, I spot Sandra. Same big, bold, beautiful hair. The glasses are there. The sass is there. I'm still rather attracted. I know she'd married now, but I go up and chat her up. We have a few laughs. I'm like, hey, I got to tell you, I had a huge crush on you at 8th grade. I always wish I had told you about it. I wonder where that might have gone. And then she holds up her ring finger, which no longer has a ring on it. And she said, well, Mark, I actually just got divorced. When are you taking me to dinner? I say, oh, challenge accepted. I like this. So Sandra and I make plans. She comes down to visit me in New York City where I'm living at the time. She even texts me on the way. She's like, hey, if I'm coming all the way down there, I wouldn't mind spending the night. So I'm very, very excited about the possibilities. So she comes down, we go out to dinner together, we have laughs, we have conversation, we trade stories about 8th grade recess, we're laughing, we're having a blast, we go dancing, we're twirling around on the streets, we end up making out under the street lights. I'm thinking, if my 8th grade self could see me now, redemption. And then we go back to my apartment. And this is where I make my fatal move. I like to set the mood when I have someone over my place for the evening. I like to lower the lights, I like to turn up the music, and I like to light a bunch of candles, for better or worse. So Sandra and I start getting busy. I won't get into too many details, but we make our way to the bedroom. Clothes are removed. We're on the bed in an apartment full of candles everywhere. And very quickly, Sandra wants to be on top. And she starts getting very enthusiastic. And pretty quickly, I realize, oh, Sandra's a bit of a wild child, which I'm very excited about. I really like this a lot. Until it becomes mildly concerning, because Sandra starts to be like a human contortionist, and there's arcing, there's bending, and there's waving of the hands, and the hair is going everywhere, and my body's just sort of being used like a human jungle gym, but then I'm like, she's like a tornado slowly spinning out of control until she leans her hair over my nightstand, which has 4 or 5 candles lit on it, and her whole hair bursts into flames. I don't know if she's got like a lot of gel or hair product in it, but the flames are everywhere. Sandra doesn't see this because Sandra's eyes are closed because she's about to reach her destination. And she's on to me to put the fire out. I grab her pillow. My other hand is being held down by her in one way or the other. Swinging her hair to put out the flames. And I don't know if you've ever tried to put out the flames if somebody is on top of you while you're having sex with them, but it's very challenging. Grandmaster is swinging and around the top, and she doesn't know what's going on. She's like, hey, easy with the rough stuff. I'm like, no, baby, it's fire. So you know it's so hot right now. The London literally on fire. I finally get the hair put out. She realized what's going on. And she says, oh my God, was that my hair? And I'm like, it was. And it's really kind of gone now. And there's cinders of hair falling on the bed all around us. The stench of burnt hair is all the room. It's just like a horror movie in the middle of. And I'm really it's a bit of a porter killer, to be honest. But Sandra doesn't care at all. Sandra is like, anyway, let's keep going. And she begins her finger eating again. I'm like, sweetheart, I gotta go see a therapist for 3 or 4 years. And little Johnny is not really in the mood, and she's not taking no for an answer. She just keeps her eyes on the prize. And we reach our destination, and we both finally collapse at the end of it, just pass out from the trauma of it all. Then the next morning, I wake up, and the stench of burnt hair is still in the room, and I was like, can this get any worse? This really wasn't the hot sex I had in mind. And then she goes into the bathroom, and she looks in the mirror and to surveil the damage, and she's no longer looking like this sort of radiant Glenn Close brunette type, but more like Sinead O'Connor. And she realizes how bad it is. She goes, crap, what am I going to tell Dave? I'm like, who's Dave? She's like, my husband. I'm like, you mean your ex-husband? She's like, well, we're not divorced yet. It's complicated. We're working it out. So now I've slept with a married woman who may or may not sue me for arson, whose husband may or may not come after me with a shotgun. So my message to you all is, if you don't want to remain romantically spooked for the rest of your life, some mysteries are better left unexplored.